I like CP3. Now, the question is, do you start CP3? Is that the resolution to what's going on with the starting unit? As this segment is sponsored by Golden State Lumber, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Again, Brian Baldniger at 7:30. Jim Peterson, the voice, or one of the many voices of the T-Wolves, but he's a color analyst, former Golden State Warrior. He's Mully's boy. I think he's going to join us on pregame, too. But Jim Pete, man, he's full of energy. He's jacked up about this T-Wolves team. I can tell you that much. They're rolling right now, starting the season. And, of course, this is an in-season tournament game. Group play. It's group play, baby. Warriors can win 2 points here or get the 2 points in group play by beating the T-Wolves tonight at home. You have the new court. Yeah, I know, man. New court. People are fired up about it.
You referenced Chris Paul, maybe wanting to be in the starting lineup. The one thing that is going better for this team from last year to this year, it feels like that second unit and the stabilization there. And I love having another quarterback out on that floor when Steph Curry's out. And so, I'm sure they could find a way to tinker it to where both guys are on the floor the entire game, even if he starts the game, CP3, and kind of adjust everyone's minute allocation. But, boy, I don't really want to mess with that. I like him coming in a couple minutes into the game after kind of getting a feel for what's going on and, hey, what does our team need right now, and changing up the pace and going from motion. And I know he's doing way more motion offense this year than he's accustomed to. I'm hesitant to try to say that that's the fix.
Yeah, I don't know what the fix is. Maybe Anthony Mbenisha has the fix. Maybe he has the fix. Anthony, top of the top. What's going on?
Top of the top, my brothers. So first thing first, I got 3 points. But so let me just get right into it. First of all, I don't think there's a fix for Wiggs because Wiggs is not in a slump. Wiggs is just uninspired and not interested in playing because when Clay's in a slump, he's still trying. And then there comes a point where he's trying too hard. Wiggs isn't doing that. He's honestly just going through the motions. And so that's why I believe that he is just not interested in playing right now. What the reason is, I have no idea. Maybe it can be he didn't want to get the vaccine a couple years ago. I remember that was lingering. Maybe it's the way the punch kind of how that all kind of worked out to a certain degree. Maybe it's Draymond continuing to bring it up and throw Jordan Poole under the bus. There can be a plethora of reasons why Wiggins is just not interested, but it really does seem like he don't even want to be here. And so there's no fixing him. The best thing to do is honestly either let it keep going or take him out of the starting unit and insert somebody that's more equipped to take his spot, which would probably be JK because they're around the same size, the same athletic ability, and we do need some athleticism and youth in the starting lineup because the starting lineup is just not cutting it right now, and the only person that's coming to play is Steph. And again, when Clay forces it, people want to trade him. But it's like he has to force it if we need points. My second point is we're also just too small, too slow, and too old. And that's where I questioned Kerr earlier this season. And I remember I messaged you maybe yesterday or the day before, Bonte, about this is going to be the test with Kerr. How is he going to incorporate these youngsters? Because we are going to need them. And it seems like we need them now more than ever because we need some youth and we need some athleticism to inject. And then the second thing is we might really need to take a look at our offensive philosophy. Yeah. Because right now we're shooting threes, but we're not making them.
20th in the league, Anthony. 20th in the league. 20th in the league when it comes to three-point percentage right now, and that's with Stephen Curry on a heater. Oh, he dropped. Bye-bye, Anthony. Good call, Anthony. Good call. It's a lot of things I agree with. You may have to tweak some things. Now, when will Steve Kerr do it? The other night, after losing to Minnesota, by the way, Minnesota's 7-2, and they dealt Boston their first loss. Anthony, this team is for real.
They look hungry.
I'm telling you, Minnesota is here. They're arriving, folks. This is a good basketball team. They've got bigs. They have athleticism. They could throw a guy like Kyle Anderson on Dario Saric, and that takes away his airspace for threes. Now, Dario made a good adjustment going down to the rack last game, but Steve Kerr, is he concerned about the loss? Is he concerned about the slow start at home? Here's Steve Kerr after the loss to Minnesota.
I'm actually not overly concerned, to be honest with you. I think, the season is filled with ups and downs, and, we're in a little bit of spell right now, but it's not like we were the world's greatest team when we were 6-2, and we're not the world's worst team losing the last 3. It's just this is part of the season, and I think we just played back to back 2 great defensive teams that throttled us, and we need to figure out some things offensively, and I'm confident that we will.
Steve Kerr's confident. Are you? 888-957-9570.
Well, I do think these matchups have been a little difficult. Now, I know there's more and more of them down the pike. You're not going to be able to face the also-rans of the NBA every single week. I don't see how they're all of a sudden going to become some crazy elite perimeter defensive team. They have guys that can do some really nice. GP2 is an excellent perimeter defender, but you can't play him more than like 20 minutes a game, right? No. Because there's offensive struggles that come along with it. I don't see who the other guy is that's going to have a stretch of shooting that's going to sustain for more than a week or two, right? Like, who on this roster right now has a track record outside of Klay Thompson, not named Steph, who is going to carry them offensively for more than a week?
Yeah, I mean, Wiggins did it back in Minnesota. So I heard a story about Wiggs where he was balling. He was trying to go for the All-Star game, and he had a 2-week stretch where he may have been one of the best players in the league.
Okay.
And then he get the All-Star bid, and he kind of just, afterwards started floating a little bit. And that's kind of been the story of his career. He has the capability to carry an offense. The guy's a gifted scorer. You don't just score 24 points a game in this league, just, getting out of bed. Like, the guy can score, but he hasn't been consistent at doing it. And I don't know if he has that in him now. So to your point, we saw Klay carry this team in January and March offensively. I don't know if Klay has that, because to Anthony's point, when Klay's forcing it, and that was so good about the first 9 games of the season, he didn't force it. It was more
rhythmic.
It was rhythmic. He let the offense come to him. He played his role. But now when you get guys who are slumping and struggling and you put the ball in his hands, and it's like, well, who else is going to shoot? It's the same thing that happened in the Lakers series in the playoffs, which ousted them. It wasn't that Klay was bad, and he'll admit it on a free. He told Anthony Slater that, and Anthony Slater will join us tomorrow at about 7:30 on the Warriors Wednesday. But Klay was put in a position to where it's like, well, nobody else is shooting it. Draymond's not shooting it. Looney's not shooting it. Poole's not playing. Kuminga's not playing. Who else is going to shoot the ball outside of Steph? So you put him in a bad spot here, and he looked bad in doing it. Klay has never been a great shot creator, not even for himself. So now you're asking him to do it at this stage of his career. It's not going to look good, folks. So I don't know what you do here. I don't know how you get easy buckets. Again, you got to somehow get some easy buckets. You're 26 in the league in field goal percentage, and you're getting dominated when it comes to points in the paint. Something's got to flip.
But that's where, like, Wiggins has become so vital, because he's one of the few guys in his prime who's athletic, who can run the floor. I mean, who else can run the floor? Kuminga?
Yeah.
Moody. Right? So
GP2 can run the floor.
I just think I look at the Klay Wiggins thing, and everyone keeps pointing the finger at both those guys. To me, it's like they both can't slump simultaneously, and that's the problem right now. Is I feels like both of them have slumped the last couple of games simultaneously, and it looks really, really ugly. If they play a more complementary brand of basketball, I think everything looks a lot better. But are we putting too much on Wiggins has to be the second best player on the team?
Yeah.
Is that unfair?
Yeah, that is unfair. I don't, and really this whole pecking order thing is like second best player, third best player, fourth best player. When did we start doing that in the game of basketball?
Well, I think you look around and it's a lot of like 1-2 combos.
Right, I get the 1-2 combos, but the Warriors were always good, where it's like, okay, Klay was quote-unquote the number 2, but you know what? He just played his game.
Yeah.
The motion offense kind of took care of itself. The ball movement, the passing, the assist numbers. They just need to play better, but Wiggins has to play better. He can't average 10 points a game. Can't shoot 18% from the free three-point line. And then when you look at his free throws, he's not getting to the free throw line. And when he does get to the free throw line, he's shooting 50% from the charity stripe. Andrew Wiggins.
Him and Kuminga, it's a wonder that they hit any free throws. I mean, seriously.
Well, Kuminga's at least shooting 75.5%.
Is he that much?
He's 75%.
Wow, I feel like he split every free throw I've seen.
He went 8 for 11 against Cleveland. I'll take that all day long.
I thought it was worse than that.
He was 8 for 11.
Wow.
Actually, Kuminga's at 75.5%. Wow. It's not bad for him.
No, I thought it was worse.
Andrew Wiggins is at 50% from the free throw line. That's not good.
Wow.
So he's got to, I don't care if he's the second best player, third best player. He has to be a lot better. I think we can all agree on that. Would you give Moody his minutes
and just swap them out and have maybe Wiggins play with CP3 and that second unit a little more?
I don't know. I don't know, because now you put more on Moses Moody's plate, and maybe he does. Maybe he is better.
I mean, I trust Moses Moody in a catch and shoot situation today, but that might flip 2 games from now.
Right. And here's the flip side. What if he has a bad game?
See that, but that's where I kind of want to
go switch, and then you switch back, and I don't know. I don't know what you do.
I think you owe it to yourself to see some of the younger players with more expanded roles and give it a couple of games, because it can't hurt. I mean, you're playing really bad right now. Yeah. They're in year 3. If they're not going to be able to help contribute more than, I mean, Moody's getting like 16 minutes a game. If he can't give you more than that, you know, they're in trouble. Like, they expect this guy to be farther along. I'm sure they've had different trade offers over the years that they could have gotten something maybe, you know, more finished product to down the line. You kind of owe it to yourself to give these younger guys an expanded role, because they're going to be the fountain of youth for some of the older players. And if they're not going to take that leap forward, well, then you gotta kind of reorganize the entire ship.
And maybe you got to rethink your thought process, and maybe it's not championship or bust. And maybe you got to retinker things and reload dare I say rebuild? Because that's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about. Let's go to Jay.
Rebuild with Steph Curry?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that word. It's interesting that you bring that up. I mean, it's easy to say. It's impossible to try to convince Steph Curry, hey, we're going to take a little step back for a big step forward.
Well, that's what we're
in the middle of your career as the sand is coming out of the hourglass.
Well, that's what we're talking about if we're bitching Andrew Wiggins. Because is Moses Moody ready to contribute at a championship level?
Right now, I'm seeing more positive play from Moody than I am from Wiggins. And so, not that Wiggins is done forever. It's just for right now, I'm trying to make the most out of my roster. And so, I'm trying to win tonight.
Yeah, it's a must win.
You know,
it's
like,
kind of a must win.
I'm just thinking, I'm thinking out loud.